Welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, welcome. It's great to have you along for the ride. Now we're currently building out our tiny off-grid home in our Land Rover Defender, which we call Rango. And in our last video, we kicked off the woodworking phase. We built a custom cubby box to house our inverter and give us some much needed extra storage up front in the cab. We also got to ply lining the roof and the walls. Now in this video, we're turning our attention to something we're both really excited about, a backdoor kitchen. Now we love to cook, and with this build we want to give ourselves the freedom to cook outdoors with ease. And that's exactly what we're aiming to achieve with this setup. So let's dive in. Like every project, it all started with a vision. We knew exactly what we wanted, but the first step was creating a solid foundation to bring that vision to life. So we measured, cut and installed sheets of ply for the backboard. This would sit over the insulation and sound deadening material. This would form the strong, reliable base for our kitchen. Now there was a lot to consider during this part, like making sure we accommodated the strut and the handle. These were the little details that were essential to ensuring fits properly and functioned as it should. Next we installed riv nuts. These are threaded inserts that will allow us to bolt the plies securely onto the back door. The great thing about this is that they make it super easy to remove the ply at a later date if needed, without causing any damage. The next step was a quick trip to IKEA to pick up our key cooking bits and pieces, so we could make our kitchen to measure and ensure everything had a set place, keeping everything organised and functional.
Backdoor build. We have an idea, we have a plan, we're hoping it's going to work. We purchased the Amazon special drop down table for about £56 on Amazon. That's going to go here. Now the plan is we're going to put a bit of a backsplash on. We've got some adhesive tiles that are going to go there just to stop it staining the wood. And then we're going to make some bungee pouches to kind of hold all of our cooking utensils. So I've got an idea for how that's going to come together, options, and hopefully we can get something to work. Hi buddy.
So we started by marking out where the table would sit before diving into everything else.
So here we have it on the floor. We're going to start by mapping it all out and working out how it's all going to fit. That's the bottom, that's the top. We've been to IKEA, picked up most of the bits we need. We had to order a couple online, so we're having to piece together. We've got some measurements to kind of justify and map out what we've got so that we can keep progressing. So we've got this pan lid that symbolises our small plates. We've got this bowl out the house to symbolise our bowls, and this plate out the house to symbolise our plates. So we're going to try and map it all out and work out where we get to. For our pans, we found these from IKEA. So in our van we bought like camping pots, and they're a bit of a nightmare to cook with because if you actually cook, they're too small.
They're so small.
We bought actual pans for the Land Rover, but we found these from IKEA because they come with a detachable handle. And then that just goes on there, and then
yeah, I would say that's the biggest mistake we've done with our van, and we've done it multiple times because we've rebought stuff, but we've bought camping specific like cooking equipment. We've bought camping like the wooden stuff is like tiny.
Oh, I'll get one.
But yeah, just Okay. So
That's comical.
yeah, so in our van, that is one of the biggest mistakes. We've bought camping cooking stuff, and whilst it works, it's not very enjoyable. Like, we love to cook, even on a
we do.
I love to cook, even on a minimalist kind of level, but it's kind of frustrating when you've got really tiny pans and tiny equipment. So Brandon so obviously we've bought normal size stuff for the Land Rover plates, cutlery, everything like that. And just for reference, this is the size utensils we have in the van. And whilst it's great for space, some things just you don't need to lose sleep over, do you? Like, yeah. So get rid of that.
Yeah, so in this set we've got frying pan, saucepan, and then bigger frying pan. All stainless steel, all really nice. Really nice actually. And they're all good for induction. So yeah, on here I think we need to mount the handle.
So jumping into the build, we started with the spice shelf. We cut, sanded and fitted a small shelf to give the kitchen some visual structure. Now, this shelf wasn't to hold the jars in place or to support them in any way, it was just to give it some visual structure. The actual jars themselves would be held and secured by bungee cord. The next step, we marked out exactly where the spice jars would sit and where the bungee would need to run to keep everything snug and secure. Now, this was a long and tedious job, drilling all the holes and threading the bungee through one by one, so while Brandon got stuck into that, I thought I'd take a moment to show you how we brand our wood. Okay, so I thought I'd show you, while Brandon is cutting loads of holes, how we do our custom wood engraving branding on our wood that we featured in the van, like this. I'll show you now. So it's really quite simple actually. So we use something called the Cricut Joy, or Cricut Joy, however you want to say it. And then it's just a piece of software on your computer or your phone or laptop or something like that. So I thought I'd show you how I do it. So let's get to designing. Okay, so I'm just in the software now. So I've created this before. So all I'm going to do is click on our logo, click to make it. I'm going to make it without a mat. And then I'm just going to check that it's the size that I want it, which it is. There we go. And then it just gives you loads of options for what material you're printing on. Just going to go for that one. Okay. Then I've got a piece of scrap here, which fits the machine, which is why I can cut it without a mat. So I'm just going to load that into the machine now. And it will just check to make sure there's enough material there, and there is. So then I just click go down here, and it starts preparing it. And then it will start to cut it. I'm just going to hold that because it's a bit creased because it's just a bit of scrap. So it starts to cut out the design. You don't have to do anything at this point. Okay, so it's nearly done now. And then it should kick it out of the machine. And then we just press unload. And then we can grab it out, and hopefully you can see that's cut the design. So what I'm going to do now is, because I am burning it into the wood, I'm going to take off the actual bit it's just cut. So as you can see, I'm taking off the insert because then I'm going to transfer this, and basically I'm going to replace the bit I'm taking off. That's the bit that's going to burn into the wood. Okay, so here we have the design and that's all cut out. I'm then just going to use some of this transfer tape to put over the top of it, which I'll then transfer onto the wood. Okay, so here we have it. So that then basically you transfer in the design onto this transfer paper that I've put on, and then we can use it as a template for our burning, which I'll show you shortly. But the great thing about the cry cut is you can create any kind of designs, even like stickers. So the bit I peeled off here, you could have used that as a sticker and stuck it on. So you can make all sorts of stickers. So I'm going to be making some little sticker labels for the spice jars for the Backdoor as well. So I'll probably show you those, whether I show you them designing them or just show you them once they're on. It's quite a nifty little bit of kit, especially for things like the wood burning, because just it creates something so awesome. So we've got that, and we'll pick it up when we get around to wood burning it. We then started marking out with a pencil kind of where all the holes needed to be drilled, followed by drilling the holes where the bungee would sit, making sure everything was perfectly aligned to securely hold everything in place. Now I'm adding our custom burn branding to make it feel a bit more special and personal to us. All I'm using is a wood burning paste, which you can easily find on Amazon or eBay. You apply the paste carefully over your design, remove any excess, peel off the sticker template, and then apply heat to scorch the design permanently into the wood. Once that was done, I followed it up with a bit of wood stain to bring out the grain and give it a nice finish. We then got to adding the bungee. This is what will hold all of our essential cooking gear securely in place. It's a bit of a process, and it did take a while to get it all threaded through and tightened properly. But if you want a closer look at exactly how we installed the bungee and what we're using, be sure to check out our previous video where we went into a little bit more detail. So I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about WaterTip. Now, we have tried and tested their water filtration system over the past few months in our house. If you want to check the full video out where we try and test it and install it, then you can check that out in the video description below. Now, we are going to be installing one of these also in our Land Rover Defender camper. And if you want to get your hands on one, you can get £15 off with our code X-PLORE.
So we're just getting ready to put the back door on, and all the riv nuts are now in. So we've got two down here and then a couple here for the table, and we'll put it on riv nuts so that if we ever need to get behind it, we can easily take it off.
We then got to officially installing the Backdoor kitchen.
I don't want to tie you up now. I don't want to do the thing. I don't want to have you, baby. I just want to have a fling. I wanna go down, stay, kissing your feet, and you make me crazy. Yeah. Tell me what you wanna do. Give me everything you got. I just wanna try to get you in the mood.
Okay, so this is going to be our kind of outdoor main cooking area. So as we drop down the table, we've not varnished this bit because we're going to do a little bit of a backsplash. Now we thought there's loads of different options you can do for this, like a sheet of plastic, metal, whatever. We don't want to leave it as wood because we figure if food does splash onto it, it's going to mark it and stain it. So what we've opted for is some of these sticky back tiles. Now we've used these in a previous camper conversion and they're brilliant really. They're lightweight, they're easy to use, they're easy to change if you need to. So we're going to use these, plus they give it a nice homely feel, easy to wipe down. So we're just going to get to pop these in this little area here to give it a nice kitchen feel and yeah, protect it a little bit really.
You only really see the kitchen when it's kind of open, and if not, we can just close it up.
And just like that, we've got ourselves a backdoor kitchen. This setup gives us the flexibility to cook with our Coleman stoves, and soon we'll be able to use the induction hob too, whether we're cooking inside or out. Having all our spices within easy reach is something I absolutely love too. We still need to add the herbs and our knives, but once they're in, this little outdoor kitchen will be good to go. And that's it for this one, another project complete in our Land Rover camper build series. Be sure to check out all the links in the description below, including the water filter that we're using and loads of other featured bits. Thanks so much for watching and coming along for the ride. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next video.